Welcome to the Police Community and You. Sergeant Chris Hill, retired from the Howard Township Police Department, CEO of the Howard Township Police Athletic League, Deputy Coordinator at Howard Township Office of Emergency Management. Today I'm here to talk to you about Howard Township and what's going on in our community as it relates to COVID-19. I know a lot of you are concerned. We have a lot of worries. But we wanted to give the message to you directly. We wanted you to hear it from those in town who are out there in the fight. So today we're going to have a meeting with Chief Kudrick of the Howard Township Police Department, who's going to let us know the state of affairs here in Howell, what's going on, what his officers are seeing, how they're responding, how the community is responding, how we can help one another, and how we can do our best to make sure that everyone's safe. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to Chief Kudrick. So Chief Kudrick, can you give us an update on things in Howard Township?
So the police department. So that's very unique. I think it's the first time in our nearly 50-year history that we actually closed our police department to the public because of the COVID-19 virus. So it's a different time to be a police chief right now, definitely a different time to be a police officer. The way that we have scaled back our police operations here, and like every police department has done throughout the United States, especially here in New Jersey where it's hitting us, one of the states the hardest. We're not doing policing like we normally do. So the proactive patrol has basically stopped. We're still responding to calls, but they're on a modified basis as well. We may not be responding to every single call. There are some calls that people are just phoning in, they're emailing in, and some calls we just don't even respond to. We just tell people to call back when this is all over with because it's just not urgent. So, it's different. It's challenging. It's a very complex time right now to be involved in police operations. You're constantly changing policies each day because even the professionals don't really know about this virus.
Correct.
Right? So they're learning as we go along, and so are we. And I think we're doing a very good job. Right now, we were ahead of it right from the beginning. We were putting plans in place. Fortunately, our OEM has been prepared for a very long time for this. We've had a lot of supplies. We're not out there begging for supplies. We're not out there begging for PPEs or cleaning disinfectant solutions. We have that. The donations are coming in. We greatly appreciate that. And again, we're just very self-sufficient here. We actually have people coming to us asking us for some help, which we're very happy to assist. But Howell comes first. We have to take care of this town first.
I think people just need to understand that the officers are out there. I see them all the time, multiple cars on the road, and they will handle what needs to be handled.
That's correct.
So we don't want people to think that this might be scaled back, but the officers are still going to do their job.
Absolutely. We didn't scale back the number of officers that patrol the streets. That's still the same. There was some concern that maybe we should do that because it's less officers being exposed, but what I explained to some of my staff and some of my union is that if you, for instance, have 24 calls for service on day shift and you have 12 officers, that's 2 calls per officer. Well, if I scale that back to minimum, say 7 or 8 officers, now you have officers handling much more call volume, dealing with, different amount of people. So, the whole purpose is to try to limit the amount of contact that you have with people. So I thought it would be better as a police chief that individual officers handle less volume of calls rather than having limited officers handle more volume of calls. So, but other chiefs may do it a different way. This is working for us right now. We did scale back since school's not in session. We don't have as many officers needed right now because our schools are not in session right now. But we have our school officers, our class 3s. They're still patrolling school grounds as a security force.
That's good. I see. As I ride up and down Route 9 and I look at everything that's closed, it's amazing. And you and I had talked before. We never thought we would see this in our time, right?
No, it's completely different. I mean, Superstorm Sandy, everything was closed, but it was closed because there was no power.
Right.
And people had no place to go. A lot of people were staying at home as well. There was a lot of people left the state because they went elsewhere where there was power, and our town was really busted up. I mean, you had those telephone poles come down on your car.
Oh, absolutely. I remember that.
Yes. So that was a different time, and it's a very unique time too, especially in my career where you've been through terrorism, you've been through Superstorm Sandy, you've been through tremendous blizzards, power outages that affected the entire town, homicides, officer-involved shootings, and now a pandemic. Never thought I'd be involved in a pandemic, But yeah, it is trying times. It's very complex managing a police department and a community during this time. I have a tremendous command staff under me, and the support around town is phenomenal. All of our department heads are coming together. There's our mayor and council are very supportive as well. They're actively involved. So it's a large town, but it still has a very small town feel. Everybody's on board. But on the police side of it, we just can't shut down. We can't close down like a lot of the other departments can around town. We still got to keep our operations running. We're still a 24/7 operation here. So the disinfecting around headquarters, the cleaning of the patrol cars, it goes on. I mean, headquarters has never been this clean. I mean, it's a good thing. But when you are trying to protect the officers and our staff here, because the staff still works here, that is a great concern of mine. When school's in session, the schools, I'm just fanatic about protecting the schools. Now the schools are out, and this is coming to place. Now my whole focus is protecting the officers and their families, because if they can't do the job, we're going to be in some serious trouble here.
You know, after years of law enforcement, we always knew what the enemy was. We always knew the bad guy, the assailant, the criminal, whatever. Not knowing where this is coming, when it's coming, who's carrying it, so on and so forth.
Right.
That's a new paradigm.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know, in my command staff meetings here, we're just making sure we keep it under 10. We're keeping a good distance from each other. You know, you and I had our temperature taken when we came here, so it's like that. Any visitors that come into headquarters now, which is very limited, they have to be medically screened as well. I'm very fortunate to have a medical staff here from running EMS here, that have paramedics on duty here that are able to basically assess us every day. So I'm very fortunate to be a police chief in this town, where I have that amazing staff and the ability to police in this manner and have these resources available to my personnel and to my officers and to the community as well.
Well, as we wrap up, I know the town has been very supportive from what I can see. Anything you wanted to say about that?
I mean, you see it on our Facebook, and I hate to keep, because it's almost repetitive every single day, but the outpouring of support, that never gets old. And we've always had that, but in times like this, that's when you truly see how appreciated the community is towards their police department. Because I say it all the time, they can't survive without us, we can't survive without them. It's a whole partnership. So I've said this from day one since I've been a police chief. I said this to all my officers, that we are in this all together. This is all in as far as a team. This is one team here. If one section, if it's the community or the businesses, gets left out, it's not going to be as successful as we are. So I know I greatly appreciate all the support that we've been shown. There's food that gets delivered here on a daily basis. Today we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner being brought into us, and it just might, and it doesn't have to be that way. It just the simple thank you, it goes a long way, because the public really gets it, but there's some people that just don't understand that, you know, these officers, these nurses, especially nurses and the doctors and the medical community that are out there that are dealing with this every minute of their shift, every single day. We're dealing with it on a very selective basis, but we're the first ones going out there. We're the first ones being brought into that situation. So a lot of credit to my officers out there. It's very tough. See, as a police chief, I'm making the policies, which is obviously important. I'm getting the resources that they need. But those officers driving those black and whites out there, I truly feel for them, because they don't know what they're walking into. It's hard enough on a normal day to be a police officer, and now you bring a pandemic into it where you just can't see that enemy, like you said, and now you bring that home to your family, and it's just a very tough time here. But we're doing the best that we can. The officers are taking all the precautions that they can, and I thank them for that, and I thank the community for all the outpouring of support that they've shown us, and the PAL as well, always there for us and a great partner. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Well, Chief, thanks for coming on. Just so you know, we plan to do this every week so we can do updates to talk about what's going on in town and the support, and to thank everybody for all that they're doing to keep not only themselves safe, but to keep our community safe, and especially keep our officers safe while they're out there in the streets, trying to make sure that you and your property and everything is safe. So again, Chief, thank you, and welcome to a new paradigm, a new day. But we got this, we got it covered. I'm glad to have you sitting at the helm there, because I'm sure that you're navigating these stormy waters.
And we'll be better and stronger after this as well.
All right, thanks a lot, and thank you. Welcome back to the Police Community and You. Joining me now is Krista Riddle from the Howard Township Municipal Alliance. Krista, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I know you have a wealth of information, so I want to get right into it. There's a lot that the Alliance does for the town. It's a central place where information can be put out to the public for a lot of different things. You work a lot with PAL, with obviously through the township, the school systems. You're everywhere.
I try to be. Well, not now, but I'm doing it virtually. So I appreciate you having me to disseminate the information, and we're always partnering. So the Alliance does substance abuse prevention and mental health awareness, as you know. We do it through a state grant and with the county. And in how we partner closely with the police, the schools, PAL, the Optimist Club, the Chamber of Commerce, and other organizations to deliver the message and make sure people get the proper resources for help.
You know, in the beginning, it was known as the How Municipal Alliance or How Municipal Community Drug Alliance, and people thought that that's all you guys did was dealt with drugs. But I know it's so much more.
It has evolved as our awareness of in society of mental health. We've shifted where we do just not the substance use prevention, but also the mental health awareness, which is key because they're both, often co-occurring. So, So, and during like normal times, when we have a crisis, it's not as hard mentally because we can come together. So we can, be a resource for one another, social support, the human touch, conversation. So now it's extremely difficult because even things like the parks that we're used to are gone, and we can't rely on those normal things that would, get us through a difficult time. So at this point now we have to kind of be a little more creative in how we help ourselves and each other. So that's why I'm here today, to kind of share that information.
So a lot of emphasis today is on social emotional wellness.
Yes.
And that could not be needed more than now, especially with, isolation, social isolation, not being able to even go visit your own parents or grandparents or even kids. So tools, tricks.
Yep, I have a few, and I'm going to keep it simple so people can actually access and follow and reach out should they need. But it's especially important to realize that some people went into this already with mental health disorders, substance use, they're in recovery. And then, you have veterans and people with PTSD, and they were already struggling. Now going into this with the isolation and uncertainty, financial fear, will this ever resolve, and the unknown, I think it's added a whole new layer for everyone. So I've come up with kind of a 3-tier approach. So this way people know what they can do on each level to help themselves and help one another. And then behind us, you'll see we have our website up here, which is on the township website page. You just click on departments and then Municipal Alliance. Behind me is a banner we have displayed at Town Hall and at Howe High School, and that gives people resources where it's just like a quick reach out should they need help. So there's 3 resources there. And then everything I discussed today is on this website page, on the Howe Alliance page, on the Howe Township website. So we're going to be focusing today on the stress relief part and also substance use mental health support services. So stress relief, which I will be discussing as I speak. All the resources are here on this page, and there's going to be a couple more added regarding resiliency. They'll go up hopefully today or tomorrow. And so we'll get back into the 3 tiers that you have to worry about right now as far as like mental health and when I refer to mental health, I'm also referring to substance use disorders because that falls under the mental health category. So the first thing we need to do is we need to self-care. So that would be ways you can do that during social isolation when you're feeling a little stressed out. You can engage in hobbies or interests. You can listen to music. You can exercise. You can walk. Even something as simple as inhaling essential oils can relax. Proper nutrition and sleep are important to keep you regulated. You can also practice gratitude. Like even though it's a time of feeling overwhelmed or looking at negative, we can shift to look at positive. And we can just take moments to remember to be thankful for the things that we do have, not that what we're lacking right now. And then also a big idea, that you could follow would be to shift from focusing on the negative to the positive. And actually on here, we have Stanford University Spark Tools, Rethinking Stress. And that actually helps you shift your mindset from the negative to the positive and using stress as something that can work for you. Then also we have a lot of resources. There's tons on the internet, but we chose to just highlight a few for just deep breathing and meditation and mindfulness to kind of learn how to take control and clear your head. If you can do these things, it will reduce your physical and mental stress. So we have people can visit them at their leisure, but we have Dr. Wheel's 3 breathing exercises and techniques. We have mindful, healthy body, healthy mind, healthy lives, getting started with mindfulness. And then we have down here, Very Well Minds, how to practice listening. And we'll get into that later. But those are just 3 very easy, basic websites. You don't have to be afraid. Some people think, oh, mindfulness or meditation, it's very complicated, or it's simple. You can just do it through your breathing. So access these. And then we're lucky in how we have Yoga Peace Kula, which is a nonprofit yoga and mindfulness studio right here. And they've shifted all of their classes for yoga and mindfulness online. So that's something people can visit, and they will work with you according to your financial budget. So it's a very good resource to have. So those are all involved in self-care. That's our first tier, caring for yourself. Our second tier would be actually caring for others and helping. So that involves being a good listener, right? And knowing, okay, somebody looks like they're struggling, or maybe they don't. So ways that you can actually be a good listener are here. Very Well Minds, how to practice listening. And what that is you would just kind of like, you can approach them. It's okay to say, are you all right today? How are you today? You don't have to kind of like, I think a lot of us are kind of walking on eggshells. You don't want to even ask anybody that. But as simple as, how are you? How you doing? Are you staying well? Or, if you ever need to talk about anything, I'm here. Or, what's your perspective on all this? It's okay to have dialogue. And then here, we think we're good listeners. And I always say, Chris, you're a good listener, because you sit back and you focus on who's speaking without forming judgment. So when we're listening, especially at a time like this, it's important to listen without judgment, to accept what someone's saying, not to be thinking about what you're going to say or your response, but kind of like, just letting them talk, doing a friendly nod to show you're engaged in listening, not looking at cell phones or computers or off in the distance or your watch. And then once they're done, kind of just summarizing, I heard you say, so they know you were listening. Now, sometimes when we're listening to someone, we see that they are upset and they're in need of a little more. So if we feel like someone is at that point where we're kind of a little concerned after speaking, we can practice mental health first aids ALGAE. It is under the prevention education page, and if you scroll, you will see it. And I'm going to be discussing listening skills for when it's a little bit more elevated. So what you're going to do is follow ALGAE, ALGEE. You're going to assess for risk of suicide or harm. Now, if someone's at risk, you're not going to leave them alone. If you're listening, maybe you want to think about calling for crisis intervention. You're going to listen, L, non-judgmentally. G is give reassurance and information that everything will be okay. And here's some resources. Here's information right on the Alliance website. The first E is encourage appropriate professional help. So they know, okay, there's places I can go to get help. And then the final E in ALGAE is encourage self-help and other support strategies. So people know they can empower themselves with things like mindfulness. But it's very important to always listen without judgment. We have a lot of stigmas, and that's why the Alliance works hard to get this information out there, because we want everyone to know it's okay to have a down day or to not feel yourself, and to reach out for help without feeling like, oh, I'm going to be labeled or someone's going to think I'm crazy. It's okay. We all have down days, and it's part of human nature to feel that way, and we should be able to express ourselves, in a welcoming, accepting atmosphere, and that's what we're trying to do.
But more and more athletes and politicians, even celebrities, are talking about the importance of mindfulness and being able to talk to someone else and having a therapist and putting it out there. So, it's a necessary method to help people cope, especially under these trying times that are different than what we're used to having.
Absolutely. People are coming out that they have a bipolar disorder. It's okay to share about what we have. And the more that celebrities and people in the public share, then we know, okay, we're human too. And it's okay to feel that way. So it's a very good point. And there's also a lot of like phone apps that you can do for the mindfulness. and meditation. So not only our website, but so we've already covered self-help, and we've helping others through listening. And then, also we can stay connected, even though we can't physically be together. You can pick up the phone and call somebody, call a grandparent or a friend, check in, how are you? We can do all kinds of like video chats. So just, even an email or mailing a card, it's okay. We don't have to be alone. Now, the third is when things are escalated a little bit more, you're talking to someone or you see someone just isn't doing well or you're not doing well. You can, the third tier is seeking professional assistance or crisis intervention. Now, if there is a crisis or an emergency, we're always going to first call 911 and let the professionals come in and handle it. But on our website, if we go back to the substance use and mental health support services page, we have quite a few resources here. Now, the top one, this is something that just came out and it was updated this week. It's the state police's, it's extensive. It's a very comprehensive. It covers everything from local, state, federal crisis hotlines, mental health services, substance use recovery services, housing, food pantries, stuff for seniors, college students, and they've also updated it with testing sites. So it's a great, go-to as a springboard. We want everyone to know, if you're in an overwhelming situation, it's okay to ask for help, but where do you go?
Right.
We'll go to our website, and we have everything on here. And it goes, like I said, from the national down to the Howell community level. So anything. Here's another good one, psychiatric emergency screening services. Monmouth County, all the hospitals have that, and that's for like a mental health crisis intervention. So, no one is alone. So the 3 tiers to focus: self-care, let me take care of myself mentally. Second is helping other people. And then the third is, if there is a crisis, I know how to intervene by going to these websites that we have here. So
you have you covered 3 different topics or ways to help yourself, help others, and then if it reaches that extreme level. You have a lot of parents home with their kids now.
yes.
And a lot of both ways. Some parents need some help, but they see that their kids need some help. Can they find help for their kids through the Alliance?
Absolutely. So all of these, and you would kind of like click and pick around, if it's not an emergency, like for example, the second floor youth helpline, that's a text line for kids, like a teen. It can be anything from I'm fighting with my best friend to, I'm thinking about harming myself. And you will get resources through there and someone to talk with. There's counselors on there 24/7. Also, we have, if we just go to our homepage, so this is the Alliance website, but if you go to our, I think if you click here, Municipal Alliance, and we'll just scroll over to the side here. We have a link to our, here it is. Click here to visit our Friends of the Alliance Facebook page. We're updating that regularly with resources, so it is by age group. So we have stuff on there for seniors. We have helpful hints for kids, parents dealing with kids that are at home, and just parents, able to help themselves. So if you look at our Friends of the Howell Township Municipal Alliance Facebook page, and you like what you see, you can like it. And then almost daily, we're posting things up for different age groups and different parts of our population to help. So. And then I'm always available. I am in Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. I do work flex time, so sometimes I'm not in the office. You would not call me for an emergency. You'd call 911. Right. But you're always welcome to call me at 732-938-4500, extension 4012. I know it's here somewhere. It might be down here. It is. That's on the website as well. You can give me a call, and I can share the resources with you or talk to someone who doesn't have access to the computer.
Perfect.
So
as you can see in Howell, we have a great deal of services to support the families in the community. Whether it's you want to help a significant other, a friend, or you just need to talk to someone, you can reach out to Krista at the Howell Municipal Alliance, and they'll point you in the right direction so that you can find the help that you need for yourself or others. As always, Krista, thanks for sharing that wealth of information. And the Howell Municipal Alliance does a lot, not only for the residents of the town, but for the community itself. So feel free to take advantage of this great opportunity. And I want to thank you for coming on the Police Community U. And we'll be back because there's a lot more information I would like for you to share as we go through this COVID-19 crisis right now. So thanks again, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching the Police Community U. Stay tuned to events that will be popping up on our township website, as well as the police department website, and we'll be updating what the next show is going to be about and who we will have as a guest. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to Krista at 732-938-4500 extension
4012.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good day.
you.